Hi everyone and welcome to another video. I'm lauranemacquart and today we're doing the video of all booktube videos, namely the bookshelf tour. This feels like a reveal, but obviously you knew because the title of the video is like that. Anyway, I have two bookcases, one down here that I will start with and one upstairs. Let's go. So this is the totality of the main bookshelf thing, what's it called? A bookcase that I have downstairs. I'm going to start, I think, upstairs with my mostly historical fiction. This shelf is double stacked, so we'll go to the back later on. These are my Ken Follett. We have got The Pillars of the Earth, The World Without End, and A Column of Fire. I still need to, when the small paperback is out, get the new one, The Evening of Darkness. The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton, a French book, well, from Romania, called La femme qui a mangé les lèvres de mon père by Tudor Ganea, The Book Thief by Marcus Suzak, The Wizard of the Crow by Ngugi wa Thiong'o, somehow my only vintage red spine book, Homegoing by Yagiasi, which has his friend Transcendent Kingdom upstairs with the other unread books. These is My Words, The Diary of Sarah Agnes Prime by Nancy E. Turner, my Chimala Ngozi Adichie with Americana, Half of Yellow Sun and Purple Hibiscus, my Khaled Hosseini with the Kite Runner, Uit de Berg from the Echo, which I have in Dutch, and the Mille Soleils Splendides, which I have in French. Then we have The Piano Tuner by Daniel Mason, some vintage Japanese with the Makioka Sisters by Tanizaki, and The Housekeeper and the Professor by Ogawa. We Crossed a Bridge and a Tremble by Wendy Perlman, which I realize should not technically be here because this is historical fiction and this is non-fiction, so I'm going to take it out and it will make new friends. Then we have The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak. I should get more Elif Shafak. Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. Suiker Bastard by Jaap Schouten. Now we're getting more to the other languages. So these are my French historical fiction. We have got Faille by Yannick Laance, Le Pays des Autres by Leila Slimani, and L'Art de Perdre by Alice Sinitier, which is great and has been translated to English. If I think of it, I will post the name below. So we have here the books that are usually hidden. First of all, my second copy of the Overstory. This is not my real copy. I saw it on a free library and I decided I was going to take it with me so that if I find someone that I think I can force it upon and they will like it, I can easily do it and they don't have to get it. Then we have got two German books that I read in high school. Die Welle by Ruhe and Blaupause by Charlotte Kerner. French book, Le Juge d'Égypte by Christian Jacques. It's trilogy about an Egyptian judge. Three mythological retellings, which I might change place because I also recently have gotten A Thousand Ship by Natalie Haynes and that one sits somewhere else. So this is a Dutch retelling of the Odyssey and the Iliad called Ilios and Odysseus by Imedros that I read 50,000 times when I was a child and that got me into the Trojan War. Circe by Madeleine Millen and The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. I believe people agree that The Silence of the Girls isn't super, but I also didn't find Circe that awesome. I mean, it's good, but it's not... Ta-da! Anyway, then we have The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. My two Gabriel García Márquez's The 100 Years of Solitude and A Love in Time of Cholera. I have both of these in Dutch and I didn't like them very much, but maybe that if one day I find them in French, I will reread them and like them. Then we have a French book. The author is Incolie Jean Boffin and the book is called Congo Inc. Didn't like it that much. The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver, which I read with my book club. Allah is Not Obliged by Ahmadou Kourouma. The Yellow Birds by Kevin Powers. The Whale Rider by Witi Ihimera. Waarvan wij droomden by Julie Otsuka. I might talk about this at one point because it's a book about Japanese women that are sent to Hawaii. They're kind of postcard brides, but it's told in the we form, so that's pretty cool. Sophie's World by Justine Gardner. I actually finished this one when I read it years and years ago. Le Tour du Monde en 80 jours by Jules Verne, so in English that is the Around the World in 80 Days. This is a children's edition. Mary Shelley with Frankenstein, and Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God that I read with my book club, and I just love this cover a lot. This is a book that I will admit went over my head, and obviously I'm not the public for it, but at one point I hope I will understand it more than I did. But let me see, we are now going to go back to here and downstairs to this shelf. We've got some fantasy in the back, and in the front we have, first of all, a photo album that I got from some friends, bibliophile. Don't know who made this, but it's a pretty cool book. If you don't know it, you should tell me, I'll show you one time. The Mountains Sing by Nguyen Phan Khai. This one should be on the shelf above with my other historical fiction, but it doesn't fit, it's too big. And then my two mouse graphic novels by Spiegelman. And on the side we have, so I got myself this for my birthday, it's an illustrated edition of the Three Lord of the Rings book by J.R.R. Tolkien, that I got myself because I thought I was allowed to have something nice. I'm going to get rid of the knickknacks and then we'll get to the books behind. So the knickknacks are away. We have here some of my fantasy books, the ones that I like enough to be down here. Let's start completely at the bottom. We have got The Children of the Bone by Adeyemi. I also have the second one of this, but it's currently on loan to a friend. This is YA fantasy, but I did really like the story and I like the cover, which I won't show you because there are all of these books on top. The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Really like this one and love the cover. Then we have got my two Patrick Rothfuss, the King Killer Chronicle with The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fears. I, as well as a lot of other people, am waiting for the third book, but don't think it will ever happen. Now this is a weird choice, I realize now, because these are my Philip Pullman and these are my Philip Pullman. Maybe they should be put together. Wait a second. Yes, this is better. It's a little bit of a wonky thing right now, but I realized why they were not together. So these are my, what's it called in English again? The Mirror Visitor by Christelle Dabos, so Le Passe-Miroir in French. I've got the second one, Les Disparus de la Claire de Lune and La Mémoire de Babel. I also have the first in English. These are French originally, but that one is on loan to a friend. Well, I might give it to her because I want to have them in French and that one is in English and therefore it has the width of this one, or the height, I suppose. So it made more sense in this tag to have this one with this one because then, you know, the height would match. So then, like I said, my Philip Pullman, these three are called in English, what's the trilogy's name again? His Dark Materials! I have them French because that's how I got them when I was a kid. Les Royaumes du Nord, La Tour des Orges, La Miroir d'Ambre. I still need to reread the last one. And then we've got the new trilogy. So this one comes before these three chronologically, and this one comes after it. So this is the Book of Dust. We've got La Belle Sauvage and the Secret Commonwealth. However, I have heard that in this one there is I suppose a man of 30 that basically admits that he was in love with a girl of 14 and that there is no commentary on that at all. So I'm still hesitating to read this, but I do love this world and the way it's written. So I'm still don't know what I want to do. And this one is not fantasy. It's a Dutch children's book called De Brief van de Koning by Tonke Dracht. I kind of like how it sits here. So because I don't have a better place, it's gonna stay there. Moving on to this shelf. This is actually not mine, this is my boyfriend's, so I can't tell you much about it. I think I have read some of these. A lot are cycling. This is cycling, 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 this one we read together. This is cycling, this is cycling. 1984, I have that one in Dutch. This is cycling. The Lord of the Flies, I think I stole this one from him to read it. He tends to not read and not finish his books. I read this one also, Les Trois Mousquetaires. We bought together, he got the abbreviated edition and I got the big one and I ended up reading the small one. This one is actually mine. He gave it to my boyfriend. He gave it for my birthday, but I had already read it, so now it's his. This is cycling. This is cycling. Okay, this shelf. Let me get rid of the knickknacks first. Okay, here we have books that I really like, and because they tend to be magic realism, I kind of put the other magic realism with it, and then other books that I might have to give another place, but I just haven't found. So, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which I have in Dutch, and maybe I want an English edition as well. I do love this Dutch edition, and this book just means a lot to me. The book itself also, because it was the first book that I was able to read again when I was depressed a couple of years ago. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern as well. I'm kind of angry that these are not the same height, yeah, but I don't want to buy a book that I already have. Anyway, Diane Setterfield's Once Upon a River and the 13th Tale. This one also a favorite. She has a third book that I should at one point get and read. The Corset by Laura Purcell. To be honest, didn't love this one that much, but it's magic realism and it doesn't have any other friends it can sit with. And the cover is pretty. Let me show you the cover. Otherwise the rest is gonna fall. Yeah, but I like this dark greeny thing. The Toy Makers by Robert Disdale, also magic realism. Exit West by Mohsin Khan, really liked it. Then we've got not really magic realism, but that's Thousand Ship by Natalie Haynes. So this is my other Greek mythology book. Maybe it should be with his other Greek mythology books. I have to think about that. Ted Chiang's Exhalation, I have his other book upstairs, which is unread. It's not with its friend, that is sad. Maybe I should do something about it. And The Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. Next we have got this part. Let me get rid of the knickknacks. I don't know what I'm going to do with the plant because the plant goes completely to the ground and I've had to wrap it around the thing already twice. And same here. I should maybe cut it. So this is, I suppose we could say, some random literary fiction. Let's start at the bottom. The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill. Somehow I also want this book to be over there, but it's too big, so it's over here. De Oneindige Familie by Kevin Wilson. It's my Marlon James Black Leopard White Wolf, which actually should be with its friend The Book of Night Women, but this one is too big, so it has to be. They have to be split up right now. So this is Murat Isik's Wees Onzichtbaar, Dutch book that won some prizes a couple of years ago that I really liked. I just realized I also have another Marlon James in my unread, my TBR, which is The Brief History of 7 Killings, and once that one comes into play, these will have to find a new place. Donna Tartt, The Hidden History, what's it called in English? Verborgen Geschiedenis? If at one point I find in a UDB or something, a free library, the English version, then I will swap those around. Deborah Meyer, The Boekenwinkel, The Bookshop, I suppose it's translated to, which I really like. The Offing by Benjamin Myers. Then we've got some Dutch books. Anna Enquitz's Quartet, which I really like. Marieke Lucas Reinveld, De Avond is Ongebak, whose friend I have upstairs. Friend meaning, as you might have noticed, another book by that author that I just haven't read yet. Simona Atanga-Bekonel's Confrontaties, love that author, will definitely try to see what else she writes. And Hersenschema by J. Bernlef, which I kind of got from a friend who was getting rid of a lot of books, and that is why it's a little bit too tattered for me, but I still like the book. And then we have got here on the side, let me move around, whoop, 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 The Mercies by Karen Millward Hargrave. I was supposed to put it in the pile, but didn't want to move the pile because piles are hard to do. So now it sits over here, and I actually like it because as I have said numerous times, I love this cover. So now let's move downwards. In the front we have my non-fiction, and in the back some more literary fiction. I should maybe start with that, but I don't really feel like moving everything beforehand. So let's start with the non-fiction on this side. Yes, my plant is in the way. Let me see if I can do this. Up! Moving you, yes. So we've got Margot Dijkgraaf, Zijn naam in het woord. Mark Mason's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Anton de Kom, Wij Slaven van Suriname. Taal van Poe by Hof. Then we've got To Pauline Cornelissen en dan nog iets. En taal is zeg maar mijn ding. The Things You Can Only See When You Slow Down by Hemin Soon. The Influential Mind by Tali Charot. Olaf de Maat with The Hufters en Helden. Michael Pollan, The Omnivore's Dilemma. Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez. Unnatural Causes by Dr. Richard Shepard. De Goede Immigrant, which is a short story collection. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. The Choice, Even in Hell Hope Can Flower. I suppose these sit together because they're both about the Second World War. And actually this one, The Choice, references A Man's Search for Meaning. The Choice is very, very, very good. Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. That honestly I didn't really like that much. The Rules Do Not Apply by Ariel Levy. I should reread this because I remember loving it, but I kind of forgot what it's about and what makes it good. Then we've got the book that is behind this thing, which is Simon Sankai's Mijn Ontelbare Identiteiten. Then we've got Ono nu Japon by Hiro Onada, De Franse Antifada by Andrew Hussey, Stamped from the Beginning by Ibrahim X. Kendi, Period Power by Maisie Hill. And I do want to say, by the way, what I like about these shelves is that they have different sizes. So here I can stack books, and here we've got this thing. But because we've got these black structures, some books can't fit behind, and I really like that I was able to slowly go from books that fit behind the thing to books that don't fit on that part of the shelves. Anyway, do you get what I mean? I'm gonna shut up. Here we have some English written classics. We've got Middlemarch by George Eliot, Homer with the Iliad, The Karamazov Brothers by Fyodor Dostoevsky, whose friend, The Idiot, I have in the same edition on my unread books shelves. And my two Jane Austen, Emma and Persuasion. I'm slowly collecting Jane Austens in this edition because I find it pretty. And I get to buy one a year, buy or ask. Let me move them so we can look at the books behind. Okay, we've got a bit of a mix and match here. Basically, these books are together because they have the same height, mostly, I suppose, and they didn't really have another place. Buddy by Mona Awad, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Zayens, Petra Hartlieb's Mijn Geliefde Boekhandel. I suppose this is actually non-fiction because this is just her talking about her bookshop. Water Theatre by Lindsay Clark, Jacqueline Woodson, Red at the Bone, The Light Between the Oceans by M.L. Sedmond, Bernardine Evaristo's Girl, Woman, Other, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, The Reader by Bernard Schlink, The Hate You Gave by Angie Thomas, Emma Donoghue with Akin, The Overstory, so this one has a friend also, The Overstory by Richard Powers, as I said, my actual copy. This is a wonky thing. I should fix this. Kazuo Ishiguro, Never Let Me Go. I also have The Remains of the Day, but my mother has that one on loan. Ayn Rand with Fountainhead and The Lost Man by Jane Harper. Yeah, thrillery thing. Should not be here, but I like it, so it needs to be on these shelves. And then behind here we've got some random books about trees. So, last shelf of this whole bookcase are my French classics. I'm happy these can be here because this is a very small shelf and these are the books themselves aren't very high, so they're really the only things that can fit here, so it's perfect. Marie Scondé, Moitié du bas sorcière, Vercors, Le silence de la mer, Kafka with La Métamorphose, George Orwell, 1984. Yes, we have this book twice. Yes, I have it in French, don't at me. George Orwell's La Ferme des Animaux, which I actually read in high school. Jean-Paul Sartre, Les Jeux sont faits, Tolstoy with Anna Karenina. I have a copy of War and Peace somewhere, but I have it in Dutch, and I actually want to get it in French at one point because I'm never going to read the Dutch one, and then I have Tolstoy together. Victor Hugo with Notre-Dame de Paris. Hey, Les Misérables by Victor Hugo should be with this one because it's the same author. I blame my boyfriend on this one. He took this one out so long ago and apparently did not put it back in the right place. François Rabelais, Gargantua Pantagruel. Should we read that? Christian de Troyes, Yvain le Chevalier Long. So this is about a knight in the Arthur War. Then we have my Zola. I don't nearly have all of them. I have, I think, only a quarter apparently because I have 5 and they're 20. In the Rougon-Macquart series. So we've got La Fortune des Rougon, L'Assommoir, Au Bonheur des Dames, Germinal, and Le Docteur Pascal. I haven't read La Fortune des Rougon and Le Docteur Pascal, but I want these to be together, so it's not in my unread books shelves. And then here, by the way, I just want to show you some other books. So this is a photography book by Sebastiano Salgado called Genesis. They're all black and white nature, and some cookbook, book about art. These should be swapped out. Cookbook, don't know what this is. Arts book about Keith Haring. Cookbook. And my friend. So, welcome in my office and the other bookshelves. This is a little bit more of a cramped space, so we're gonna see how it goes. First off, some of my fantasy. George R.R. Martin's with the Song of Fire and Ice, I think the series is called. I just lent the first one to a friend just last week. Then we have got my Narnia, the completely mismatched bunch of English, Dutch and French. At one point I might have thought to get them all in one language just so it's pretty, but on the one hand, after having reread this, I know how badly they have aged, and I like also that because these are books that I read over and over again when I was a child, that they are like this. So behind, I hope it's a little bit legible, we have got on the one hand two of the three Nathalie Kor's De Verborgen Universiteit. One is called The Levende Labyrinth and the other one is The Erfenis van Richard Grenville. Yeah, that's it. And then we've got my Aragon trilogy. I don't really remember what the series itself is called, but with Aragon that I have French, Inheritance, Eldest, and Brizinger. I think Eldest and Inheritance have to be swapped around. Wait a second. Yes, that is better, isn't it? Am I mad that these are all different editions and that the only two that I have, at least from the same editing house, I have one in paperback and the other in hardback? Maybe. And then we've got my one Brandon Sanderson. I think this is the second one in the series, but I don't know how I feel about Brandon Sanderson at this moment. Next shelf. We've got a lot of French books here. So first of all, the whole of my pile of Bernard Weber, and the ones that were too big to fit. So we've got Les Fourmis, Le Jour des Fourmis, Les Thanatonautes, La Révolution des Fourmis, Le Père de nos Pères, L'Empire des Anges, Ultime Secret, Le Livre Secret des Fourmis, L'Arbre des Possibles, Nos Amis les Humains, Nous les Dieux, Le Souffle des Dieux, Le Papillon des Anges, non des Étoiles, Amine, Le Mystère des Dieux, and Bernard Weber de Demain, Les Chats. And here the other two are Le Miroir de Cassandre, and this one is La Troisième Humanité. I used to really like this author, but now that is not the case, and we have got this one here, which I will talk about in a very separate video, so you'll have that to look out for, but it's Le Livre de la Jeune Fille. And behind, we have got some other French books. Here we have the trilogy by Marie Labrège called Le Goût du Bonheur. This is a trilogy about a family in Canada. Then we've got, starting at the bottom, by Catherine Pancol. She was very popular in France. So this is a trilogy called, can't remember what the trilogy is called, but we've got Les Yeux Jaunes des Crocodiles, La Valse Lente des Tortues, and L'écureuil du Central Park sont tristes le lundi. And recently I read this one, Les Trois Baisers, which is about the same people, but it's not really the same trilogy, and I realized I really did not like the writing. But when I read this when I was, I don't know, 18, I really loved this. Then we have got Anna Gavelda, La Consolote, Ensemble c'est tout, et Je voudrais que quelqu'un m'attende quelque part. This one I really liked. I should read it again. And these are books that have been bunnied, meaning that my bunny thought they were food. And then we've got some Amélie Nothomb, Le Voyage d'hiver, Acide sulfurique, La métaphysique des tubes, Journal d'hirondelle, Une forme de vie. I know my favorite one is not in here because I lent it to a friend and then the friend moved and I don't know if I will ever see it again and I'm kind of sad about it. And Lola Lafont de Ça je me console. Don't really know why I'm keeping that one because I didn't really like it. So we are moving to the right and then to the bottom. My manga. Pokemon, and Regatta. This was the one about rowing that I ended up really not liking. This is some crime thingies. So we've got Le Prédicateur by Camilla Läckberg, I think she's Swedish. Agatha Christie, The Crime on the Orient Express. I think this is the only Agatha Christie that I have here, and I have it in the children's edition that I got when I was a child. The Child Finder by Rennie Deldenfield, The Giver by Louis Lowry. I don't think this is the actual edition. I think this is abbreviated edition because I got it at high school and it just seems too small to be the actual thing. L'Histoire d'Hélène Keller by L.A. What's your face? Hickok? So this is a book that I made my classmates read in high school. They loved me. La Vengeance des Mers by Jim Fergus and Amin Malouf's Léon l'Africain. And we've got some books behind, so I'll have to move these. So I moved the books forward in the hope that the light will be better. So here we have J.M. Clésio, Révolution, Jean Rouault, L'imitation du bonheur, Kamal Jeanne by Dominique Hédé, Le pique-nique des orphelins by Louis Eydrich, Mon enfant de Berlin by Anne Diamesi, La méthode Mila by Lydie Selver, Grand Magasin by Marilyn Pion, Le chaman au bout du monde by Jean Courtin, a random Dutch book that really should not be here. Gefeliciteerd by Tom Tellige. These are very short stories with animals. Maybe I should put this one in the bathroom. This is a good bathroom book. And last but not least, well no, it is least maybe, La vérité sur l'affaire d'Henri Kébert by Joël Dicker. To be honest, I don't think I remotely liked any of these, and I'm not sure I read the first two, so maybe I should get rid of these or give them to my mother or something. I don't know why I still have them. Maybe mostly because I'm happy but I have these big white books. They look aesthetically okay. So let's see, we move down a notch, we move right a notch, we move down a notch. So this is the bottom right corner. I have my Harry Potter. I feel conflicted about these. I still like the books, don't like what J.K. Rowling is doing, so she's allowed to remain in the house. But like I said, the bottom right corner is the place. Then we are moving up, up, and up. These two shelves are my unread books. The rule is that there are not allowed to be books on top. So here we have the mostly, I think, Dutch and English. Maggie O'Farrell with Hamnet, Eva Luna by Isabel Allende. I think I have this one in Dutch. Yeah. The Disappearances by Emily... What's Your Face? Bain Murphy. Story of a Goat by Perumal Murugan. Really want to read that. Brief History of Seven Killings by Marlon James. Transcendent Kingdom by Yagiasi. The Granta Book of the African Short Stories by Helen Habiba. Ted Chiang's Stories of Your Life and Others. Jasmine Ward, Sing Unburied Sing, Guest House for Young Widows Among the Women of ISIS by Azed Moaven. Washington Black by Essie Edougian. Wat wij zagen bij Hannah Barefoot en Grote Verwachtingen by Geert Mak. This is non-fiction. All of these, well maybe except for these two, I basically want to read next. And it's not happening because I have a pile of library books downstairs that I have to read next. Let me move behind. Yes, I move them forward. These are, I suppose I could say, classics, unread classics. So, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. This is, I found this in a free library, I think years ago, but as I said, I want to read it in French. Les Mémoires d'une jeune fille rangée by Simone de Beauvoir. John Steinbeck, East of Eden, that I have in Dutch, so I am going to get rid of this one and get it in English whenever I want to read this. Get it from the library. 4 novels by the Bronte sisters, Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, Agnes Grey, and Villette. I have read Wuthering Heights, and I am going to read Jane Eyre next month with my book club. Then we've got a collection of some Colette books. And my Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Idiot. Last block of books, so maybe you noticed, but these, you probably didn't. These are English, and then it goes over to Dutch here, and then it continues in Dutch there. So we have got Marieke Rukas Leinveld, Mijn Lieve Grunselin, A Friend is Downstairs, A Pauperparadijs by Susanne Jansen, De Stam van de Hollenberg by Jean M. Aul. I'd rather read this in Dutch, but I found this one in a free library. Then, by the way, random, but did you know that English books and Dutch books were written like this on the spine? And then French books, and German also, are written whoop, like this? It's very irritating. Ségou by Maryse Condé, the first one. Pauline, did you know that we were going to read this one last week? Camus, La Chute, and Camus, L'étranger. Then we've got Boule de Suif by Maupassant, another Maryse Condé, La Vie Scélérate. These don't have the same height, so that's why they're not together, but maybe I should fix this. Bonjour Tristesse by Françoise Sagan. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to read that. I already read it and I didn't like it then. Qu'attendent les singes by Yasmina Kadra. Camus, Le Mythe de Sisyphe. You should also be with your Camus friends. L'île mystérieuse by Jules Verne. Nicolas Dicker by has written Nikolsky, sorry. Then we have got Un été norvégien by Einmar Mar Gudmundsson. Look at how cool this cover is. And we have got Les Dernières Heures by Minette Walters. Written in English, and I have it in French, and I feel conflicted about it. And then the books that should not exist technically, because they're not allowed to be here, because they're not allowed to be on top of this. We have got one of my German book that I want to read this year, Frauen mit großen Augen by Masreta. I found Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke in a free library not so long ago, and it is so pretty, and then I opened it and realized it was Dutch. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Gaël Faye with Petit Pays, that I'm excited about, and Jean-Paul Didron, La Fissure. So he's the writer of the Le Liseur du 6h27, and I'm really excited to get this one. Another thing that I want to say about the way text is written on a spine. The disadvantage of the way the French do it is that when you want to stack book like this, you don't see the cover. Maybe that's the idea, that you see the back, but I'd rather have them stacked like this, but then you can't read it. Life. So that was my bookshelf tour. I think you've seen pretty much all of the books that I have in the house, except for the ones that I have in a box that I'm going to get rid of, the few that I am reading at the moment and the few that I have from the library. I hope you like this bookshelf tour. If you yourself have a booktube channel and you haven't done one of these tours before, please do it. If only just for me, because I just love watching them. They're so calming and it satisfies a very noisy part of my brain that likes to see what other people have in their house. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.
Ba-chum, ba-chum, chum.